Hey, Pursue students. Hey, I'm sorry we couldn't meet tonight due to the weather, but I still wanted to go ahead and share the notes in a quick brief over the notes from tonight. And so if you want to go to your app, your Pursue app, if you don't have the app, you can go to pursuestudents.com. And you can, down at the bottom, you can actually get a link to the Apple or the Android version of our app. And then click on the messages and you'll find one that says Holy Week. And so tonight we would have been talking about the Holy Week, or also known as Passion Week. And this is Saturday or Sunday, Palm Sunday, through Sunday, Resurrection Sunday. And so I wanted to briefly go through this with you and let you kind of follow along and see what's in the notes here. And so just like Pastor Kevin had preached on and spoke on this Sunday, know that Sunday was a celebration of Palm Sunday, the triumphal entry of Jesus coming into Jerusalem, and the people laying down their coats and even palm tree branches as a symbol of their king coming in a celebration that Jesus was going to be entering into Jerusalem. On Monday, Jesus does a few things here. Jesus weeps over Jerusalem. In Luke 19, he says, as he approached Jerusalem and he saw the city, he wept over it and said, if you, even you, had only known on this day what would bring you peace, but now it is hidden from your eyes. The days will come upon you when your enemies will build an embankment against you and encircle you and hem you in on every side. They will dash you to the ground and your children within the walls. They will not leave one stone on another, because you did not recognize the time of God's coming to you. The time of God's coming to you. And so that's an amazing scripture there that Jesus got emotional at this time, that Jesus is weeping over Jerusalem because they are choosing something opposed to his will. On Tuesday, also on Monday, Jesus goes into the temple. He cleanses the temple. And what this means is he went into this holy temple, which is his Father's house, a house of prayer. And he went in and he saw the people were selling different animals for sacrifice and made it into kind of like a market. And I believe this is the second time he had done this. And he went into the market and he flipped over the tables and with a righteous anger, said, this is my Father's house. It is a place of prayer. And so on Tuesday, the next day, the disciples see a fig tree withered that Jesus had actually withered. He cursed on the Monday. On Tuesday, Jesus teaches. He teaches about God's kingdom, uses parables to teach about God's kingdom. On Wednesday, there's not a lot of information about it, but we do know that this was a day when Judas plans to betray Jesus, when he meets with those leaders who were against Jesus and kind of settles for the 30 pieces of silver that he will betray Jesus for. On Thursday, there's the Passover meal. Also, Jesus washes his disciples' feet, a very intense time. Jesus, at that washing and at that supper, Jesus identifies his betrayer, Judas. He also, this is when Jesus institutes the Lord's Supper. So what is normally the institution of the Passover meal, Jesus is now he is instituting, hey, from this point, as often as you do this in remembrance of me. And he is instituting this Lord's Supper at this time. Friday is a big day. Friday is called Good Friday. At 12 a.m., Jesus is in the Garden of Gethsemane, and he's praying. And it says that he prays, Father, take this cup from me, but not my will, but your will be done. So Jesus at that point chose us over his own life, and got so stressed at a point he sweat blood drops. Still at 12 a.m., Jesus is praying, and Judas betrays Jesus with a kiss there at that garden. That's where he'd set up to meet him and betray him. And he gave him a kiss, and it was to tell the other guards the person that he kisses is Jesus, the one they want to take. And so at 3 a.m., Jesus is taken to Annas. Jesus is taken to the high priest at Caiaphas. Peter denies Jesus at this time. Remember, he denies him 3 times. And the Sanhedrin condemns Jesus at this point. By 6 a.m., Jesus is brought before Pilate. Jesus also goes before Herod, and then he's brought again before Pilate. Then at that point, he's kind of given a sentence of a beating, and so Jesus is whipped and he's mocked and has a crown of thorns placed on his head. By 9 a.m., Jesus is crucified. By 12 p.m., darkness falls over the land. 3 p.m., Jesus dies for the sin of all mankind. The temple veil is torn by God, meaning that the veil that was in the holy temple, it tore from top to bottom, and it was done by God to represent something new and different. After that, Jesus' side is pierced, and then Jesus is buried before sundown. They wanted to bury him before sundown because that was an important evening for the Passover meal and the Passover celebration. On Saturday, the next day, the Pharisees ask for a guard at Jesus' tomb, and Jesus' body lies in the grave. By Sunday morning, this is Resurrection Sunday, the tomb is found empty. Jesus has risen from the grave. Jesus appears to all his disciples. Students, this is so foundational to our faith, so foundational that we do not serve a God who was just a good person who came to this earth and lived a great life. We serve an amazing God who came to this earth, lived a great life, gave his life on a cross, and then defeated death on our behalf. And one day he will return for us. And I hope this is a good reminder, another reminder for you this week as you celebrate the resurrection with us on Sunday, what God has done. Our Creator is amazing. I'm proud of each one of you. I hope you have a blessed day. Bye.